Okay, time for a new video. Welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new. This is yet another Eurovision related video here on my channel, and a continuation of this little series of videos that I am filming for my channel over the summer months this year, where I focus on one country and one country only, and that nation's results at the Eurovision Song Contest over the past decade, 2015 to 2025. I've already filmed a fair few videos like this one, you might well have seen them by now, and today I am going to be focusing on the Netherlands and the Dutch entries at the Eurovision Song Contest in the recent past. As always, you are welcome to let me know your thoughts on anything I discuss in today's video by leaving a comment down below, and as always there are links in the description to my other social media pages, check them out if you so wish. The reason I'm talking about the Netherlands at Eurovision is because they came out on top in a poll that I put up on my community page about 2 weeks ago now. Shortly after this video goes live, there will be another poll with 4 more options, and whichever nation comes out on top again, I will be talking about that nation's entries in a future video. Anyway, the Netherlands, 5 times winners of the Eurovision Song Contest, most recently with Duncan Lawrence and Arcade in Tel Aviv in 2019. More on that song in a moment. I usually very much enjoy the Dutch entries at the Eurovision Song Contest. This is a nation that usually ends up in my personal top 10 every year. It is not often that I am not a fan of what they're bringing to the table. So let's roll back the years to Vienna 2015 and focus on the entry they had that time around, and this was a bit of a blip on the radar. It was Walk Along by Trantje Oosterhuis, which I'm probably mispronouncing there. This song, very nice, quite pleasant, feels fairly summery, I would say. The issue here, and I've said it before about so many Eurovision entries in the past, with mid-tempo tracks, they are difficult to stage well. You can't really go too overboard with pyrotechnics or flashing lights because really they are more suited to, of course, more up-tempo numbers. With ballads, minimal lighting, bit of a smoke machine, not a great deal of movement on stage, you perhaps know what you're going to get. With a mid-tempo effort, I always feel as though they are the most difficult types of tunes to stage well, and in this particular instance, it all fell a little bit flat. Firstly, the song, which I think was released quite early on in the 2015 season, well before Christmas if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong, in 2014, this song never really gained a great deal of momentum, a great deal of traction. I think a lot of people were very indifferent about it. I enjoyed it. Over the years, I've not really listened to it a great deal. It is quite repetitive. That is where this song really suffers, I think, because after about 1 minute, you've sort of heard the whole thing. Nothing much really changes as it goes on. And like I said, it is a fairly pleasant number, but ultimately it runs out of steam very quickly, and that is probably why this track did not qualify. From the first semi-final in Vienna, it was song 4 on that night and 14th place, 33 points. However, the juries really liked it. They had this song in 5th place, the public 15th, second last. So when smushed together, because that's the way the voting was back then, 14th place tied with Denmark on 33 points. Trantje herself, pretty decent vocalist. This was pretty much shot in one shot, and we had sort of warm colours, red at one stage and then blue actually at another point. I think it changed every chorus, but I can't quite remember. It's been a while since I saw the performance. She had some backing singers off to one side, the camera panned around them. Yeah, it was all very simple and ultimately all too forgettable, but it's really not that bad a song at all, in my opinion. The Netherlands, my number 8 of the 2015 contest, and I am going to make a little note here. My rough ranking of the Dutch entries over the past decade. Feel free to let me know your rough ranking in the comments below. Moving on to 2016 now, and this was a little bit of a return to form. Let's not forget, the Netherlands languished in the semi-finals for almost a decade, 2005 to 2012. No grand final appearance, and they tried a little bit of everything. Then Anouk came along, and she co-wrote Walk Along, just for the record. And she changed things in Malmö, got the Netherlands back in the final, got them into the top 10. Then the Common Linnets Calm After the Storm. That was my favourite in 2014 after the contest, and it's my all-time favourite ESC song as of right now. And then obviously Walk Along was an NQ. But back to some sort of form in 2016 with Douwe Bob with Slow Down. This is a really nice song as well, tinged with country elements, I would say. Quite smartly dressed, a couple of backing singers and musicians off to one side. We had the ticking clock at the start, and then in the final third there was that 10-second awkward pause, which was only thrown in to really make the song 3 minutes long. They could have done without it, in all honesty. It was just a little bit awkward in my opinion, maybe your opinion as well. We had a sort of clock on the stage floor, orange lighting, it felt very warm, it was on early in the running order. Again, a little bit on the repetitive side. Ran out of steam fairly quickly, you could say. Vocally, not too bad. Something different from the previous year's effort, which is great. But on the whole, after the contest was over and done with in Stockholm that year, I don't think this is one that many people were really gravitating to anymore. Anyway, this was in the first semi-final and qualified in 5th place. I won't go into the specifics too much here. If we take a look at the grand final, on 3rd, finished 11th, 153 points. In the semi-final, it was fairly even in terms of opinion across the jury and public halves of the results. And then in the final, 11th with the juries and 17th with the public. Don't really have a great deal else to say about this one. It is a pleasant ditty indeed, and I'm going to put 2016 just there on my list. For the record, just going back now, because I always forget to do this stuff, Trantje Oosterhuis, who is now 52 years of age. She's from Amsterdam, and her birthday is the day before mine. She's released a whole bunch of albums, but not for a few years. If we take a look at Douwe Bob, I know that he's got quite a few children. Let's load this up here. Come on, come on, come on. Here we go. Yes, he's 32. Slightly older than me because he was born in December of 92. Also from Amsterdam. He's released a whole bunch of albums, including one in February of last year, Where Did All the Cool Kids Go? He's collaborated with a couple of musicians as well. Yes, definitely quite successful. 3 children with 3 different people. So there you go. But quite a charismatic figure, I think it's fair to say. There's a video of him online, whether it's still online or not, I don't know. But he had a sort of pop-up bar at the time of Eurovision in Stockholm. And there's a video of him and loads of other Eurovision artists that year doing a cover of Hey Jude, I think it is, which is really fantastic. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's move swiftly on to the Dutch entry of 2017. And this was a 3-piece girl group in Kiev, O Jean, with Lights and Shadows. And I believe this song was co-written by their father. Something like that. Don't quote me on this. Anyway, O Jean, they've been around a long time. Lisa, Amy and Shelley. They were at Junior Eurovision once upon a time with Adam In, Adam Out, Breathe In, Breathe Out, which is a pretty catchy tune, it must be said. 2007 when they came onto the scene, Lisa, Amy and Shelley Vol. They were on The Voice of Holland as well, and they won it. And they've released a couple of albums, including under Lisa, Amy and Shelley. They released an album in March of this year, but it was self-released, so I think it flew under the radar. They've done a couple of cover songs looking at this as well. Absolutely, that must have been around the time of their appearance on The Voice. Anyway, this song, Lights and Shadows, really beautiful, very personal to them, I believe. We had lyrics on the backdrop. They were in black dresses. The harmonies were absolutely splendid. And what else is there to say about it? It really is just a lovely ballad. Not really repetitive, in my opinion, unlike their entries from the previous 2 years. But I do think this one, again, was just maybe lacking a little bit of sparkle to make it truly stand out from the field. Because if you take a look at the results here, qualified from semi-final to 4th place, doing better in the jury vote, absolutely. And then in the final, the Netherlands finished 11th, again, 150 points, doing very well in the jury vote, 5th with 135 points, 19th with 15 crappy points from the public. They were totally dismissive of this very beautiful, simply staged, quite understated effort. A real shame that more points didn't pour in. I'm going to put 2017 here. Something else that I forgot to mention, because these videos are always over the damn place, Slow Down, my number 4 of 2016, and Lights and Shadows, my number 5 of 2017. Great stuff. Let's move on now to the 2018 entry, which was Outlaw In'em by Waylon. Waylon, of course, another, a bit like Dalva Bob, quite a charismatic figure, looking like a bit of an old school rocker, slightly gravelly voice, really working the stage, bit of a showman figure. He was there with the Common Linnets in 2014. This was something very different, though, a sort of bluesy rock number. He had the guitar, he had dancers, little podiums on stage, if I remember correctly. I'm going to check this, actually, because I can't quite remember. And you had one guy dancing and crunking, which did look very awkward at the time, and even to this day, it still looks rather bizarre, in my opinion. Yes, group of dancers around him, a sort of blue colour scheme that they went for, some flashing lights. He was in this leopard print jacket. Nice guitar, sounding pretty good, working the camera well. This is my second favourite of the Lisbon contest, but I do have to say, I have sort of barely listened to it over the years. 2018 was a strange year for me because I like a lot of the songs, but I don't necessarily love a lot of the songs. If we take a look at the results, this went through from semi-final 2, the last country to be announced as a qualifier, 7th place. Taking a look at the split results, did better with the juries than the public. The public had this as an NQ. They gave Russia more points, slightly more points that year, which in my opinion is just baffling because that Russian entry was god-awful. In the final, the Netherlands were 13th with the juries, 19th with the public, and 18th overall, just below Ukraine, just above Serbia. Not much else to say about it. I know I'm repeating myself here, but it was something different for the Dutch, and ultimately it sort of backfired. If we do take a look at Waylon, though, he is, a great singer, great musician, 45 years of age. He has released a whole bunch of albums, all of which have done fairly well in his homeland. Outlaw In'em only charted at number 37 in the Netherlands, though. It seems as though he's been quiet for a few years. And he has 3 children looking at this. So there we go. Moving on now to 2019, and of course this was a great moment for the Netherlands because they won the Eurovision Song Contest for a 5th time and first time since the 1970s. Duncan Lawrence came along with Arcade. So Duncan, real name Duncan de Moor, born in April 1994 in Spijkenisse. He's 31. He was on The Voice of Holland as well, once upon a time, but he was knocked out in the semi-finals. He has released 2 albums. The first charted at number 6, the second at number 41. So I don't want to say that he sort of dropped off a cliff in terms of success, but things have been quiet for a while. He hasn't had a song chart in the top 40 in the Netherlands. In fact, the only song of his that has reached the top 40 in the Netherlands is Arcade. It also charted at number 29 in the UK, which isn't bad for a Eurovision track, and number 30 in the US. It sort of became a lot more popular well after Eurovision. Social media propelled Arcade into the sort of public consciousness a little bit more away from Eurovision, and became very successful indeed. Of course, it's a piano-driven ballad, a sort of sky-like scene on the backdrop, which looked a bit more watery at times. Behind the piano, Duncan looking fairly smart, I would say, pretending to play the piano, of course. And then this light-up ball that came down from the ceiling, this dramatic panning shot right before the final chorus. I think there was a little bit of smoke, but don't quote me on that. I can't quite remember. It's been ages since I watched this performance back. Lasers streaking across the arena in Tel Aviv as well in the final third. Really beautiful. And I remember the first time I heard this thinking, wow, this is really in it to win it. It's just striking me in that way. And I think for a lot of other people as well, they were very moved by this. They maybe found it a little bit emotional. I think it was absolutely a worthy winner. But let's not forget, it didn't win the jury vote and it didn't win the public vote. Looking at the semi-finals, semi-final 2 won it. But did not win the public vote or the jury vote. And then in the final, it was a similar story. 3rd with the juries, 2nd with the public, 1st overall. Not that far ahead of Italy and Soldi Clap Clap, of course. But yes, in my opinion, a very fine winner indeed. And such a tremendous result because, as I said earlier, the Netherlands were languishing in the semi-finals for so many years. And then, after a little bit of reform and all of this stuff going on behind the scenes, to come back and win after so long in the wilderness was truly, truly tremendous. The 2020 contest was cancelled. But we did have a Dutch entry, of course, and it was Jean-Guy McCroy who co-wrote his entry, and it's called Grow. Jean-Guy is 31, born in November 1993 in Suriname. He's released a couple of albums and a whole bunch of singles as well. And his 2020 Eurovision effort is called Grow. Something that I've forgotten to do here is tell you that Arcade is my number 2. Really? Yes, it is. My number 2 of the 2019 competition. Grow is my number 4 of 2020. I think this is a criminally underrated track. I really do. We've only really got the music video to speak of, so I'll focus on that a little bit here. At the end of the music video, he's sort of sitting around with a group of people and they're just sort of sharing their stories, I guess. And the music video follows him on this journey to this meeting. And lyrically, it's just really nice, and I think it hits home for a lot of people as well. Perhaps in a similar way to Arcade, people resonating with the lyrical content a little bit. And oh man, I really do need to listen to this song again. You can tell because I'm struggling to talk about it. But it's so beautiful, and it really did fly under the radar. I think this could have been a bit of a dark horse had the 2020 contest gone ahead, because I think the juries would have really appreciated it. I think they would have appreciated the message of it. I'm sure it would have been staged in a fairly simplistic manner. It could have been really, really effective live. And if you ask me, this is miles ahead of the entry he came back with in 2021, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But yes, Jean-Guy McCroy, a fine vocalist, Grow, my number 4 of the 2020 competition. Really, really wonderful stuff. Had the competition gone ahead, he would have been 23rd in the grand final. But because of the pandemic, we had to come back a year later in Rotterdam. The Netherlands were 23rd in the running order again, of course. It was Jean-Guy McCroy again, of course, and the song was called Birth of a New Age. Now, you'll have to forgive me again, because I don't remember too much about this performance. There were dancers on stage doing some interesting moves. He was in a sort of blue suit-like outfit, and then they moved on to the sort of B stage as the song progressed, and lots of colours and lyrics on that screen that came down from the ceiling, and vocally very strong, and obviously the small crowd that were there in Rotterdam were really cheering him on as well. The song is written in English and partly in Sranan Tongo, a lingua franca or common language in Suriname. The genre of the song is soul, combined with percussion and the exchange of call and response from kawina, a genre that originated in Suriname, where Jean-Guy McCroy is from. The choir consists of 60 voices that were recorded by 3 singers. The voice of fellow composer Peter Perquin can be heard at the beginning of the song. Yes, it's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. You can't break me even if you think that I am inferior. That's the sort of refrain of this track, the translation of it. It was just sort of dismissed, really. Nobody really paid a great deal of attention to this one. It felt like a pretty lukewarm follow-up to Grow, and even that song didn't really get a great deal of buzz either. 23rd place in the final, 11 points for this one, 0 from the public. In fact, last overall in the public vote, because although 4 countries got 0 from the public, the running order takes precedence. So the Netherlands are last there. And then only 11 points, all of the points for the Netherlands that year, of course, coming from the juries, 23rd place and 23rd place overall. Really disappointing, but yeah, for me, this is not a classic Dutch entry of the past 10-15 years or so. Trying something different, a little bit of a different flavour and sound and dynamic to the Eurovision stage, but it just sort of fell flat on its face, I'm afraid. And this song is my number 22 of 2021. Moving on to 2022, and I now need to do this because I keep forgetting. 2019, I think, can go there. 2020, really do like that song. I'm going to put it there. And then 2021, I think it's going to have to go there. 2022, holy smokes, this song is so damn good. It is De Diepte by Steen. And she co-wrote this. What an absolutely tremendous track it is. Low-key, almost haunting, and precious, if that's the right word to use in terms of its sound. It's a very relaxing and beautiful tune. There's nothing else to say about it. Steen, S10, Steen den Hollander, born in November 2000 in Hoorn. She's released 4 albums, including one this March. Loads of singles. De Diepte reached number 1 in the Netherlands and charted in a few other countries as well. It means the depth. And what else does it say about this song, really? The guy in the music video who rides the motorcycle, I think, passed away a year or 2 ago, which is pretty sad. The song is about her most personal memories. It's a tribute to the sadness and memories that you carry with you. Everyone experiences difficult times in their lives. That's something we all have in common, and so on. In terms of staging, very simple. Black outfit. I thought she looked great. Little bit of skin on show, but it wasn't a sexy outfit. She just looked really smart, in my opinion. Little podium, lights streaking across the arena in Turin. She moved forwards towards the end of this song. Very emotional, I would say, at the end of the performances in both the semi-final and the final. A warm response from the crowd there. I just loved it. Loved it from the first time I heard it. The reaction is up on my channel somewhere. I thought it was absolute quality, straight away, and I was really rooting for this one to do well at Eurovision. In the end, not a bad result. This went through from the first semi-final in 2nd place, but did far better in the jury vote. And then in the final, a similar story, I'm afraid. The Netherlands were 8th in the jury vote, 14th with 42 points from the public. Really quite disappointing. Oh, but what a tremendous song. I've listened to this song since 2022 fairly regularly. It's just beautiful. I love the sort of soaring chorus, the slightly hopeful vibe that it gives off as well. Ah, man, it's a really interesting track because it feels a little bit sad, but it also feels a little bit, like I said, hopeful at the same time. And just absolutely majestic. Really, really wonderful. And I do need to listen to more of her material, actually. Anyway, that's 2022. De Diepte is my number 2 of that particular competition. 2023, well, here's another absolutely cracking, underrated gem from the Dutch. This was Burning Daylight by Mia Nicolai and Dion Cooper. What does it say here? Yes, Duncan Lawrence co-wrote this one, which I think passed a lot of people by. Burning Daylight. Doesn't really say too much about the song, in all honesty, but the lyrics here really do hit home for me. Like, I don't believe in God anymore. It's sort of a song about you feel as though you're wasting your life almost. And that's the vibe that I got from it at the time. That's the vibe I get from it now. Vocally, okay. There were some criticisms aimed at this pair in the build-up to Eurovision, and I think they changed the key of the song ever so slightly for the performance in Liverpool. Did it work? I suppose so. The performance was very beautiful. They were both in dark outfits. They were on this podium on the secondary stage, closer to the audience. The camera was panning around them. And then at the end, this sort of euphoric and cathartic release. Goodbye, old life. Sort of silvery grey lighting. You know what I'm on about. You'll have seen the performance. It was really beautifully done. But unfortunately, there was no momentum with this track, and therefore the points did not pour in. It was always going to be touch and go anyway. Mia for the record. Mikaya Nikolai is 29 from Amsterdam. Doesn't seem to have done a whole lot since Eurovision. And then Dion Cooper is 31 from Wassenaar. He was on the 6th season of The Voice of Holland in 2015. Didn't get too far and doesn't seem to have done much since Eurovision either. But then again, I haven't really been following their careers. Really nice track. My number 3 of the 2023 competition. And I'm going to put it here, actually. Why not? It's a very rough ranking, this, but my God, absolutely tremendous. I like so many of the Dutch entries over the past 10 years. It's unbelievable. And I like the way this one builds up. I like the music video, the passing back and forth between guy and girl. Yeah, really very nice indeed. And lyrically, oh man, I don't really talk about the lyrics too much in Eurovision-related videos on my channel because I often feel as though the lyrics pass a lot of people by. That's not the main focus sometimes, and certainly first-time listeners probably aren't giving much of a crap about the lyrical content of a song. But with this one, absolutely, the lyrics have stayed with me quite a bit. Anyway, we move on to 2024. I am aware I am waffling big time. Last year, because it was only last year, Joost Klein represented the Netherlands. We all know what happened here. Chaos. There was this incident behind the scenes where apparently he made a move towards a photographer and the photographer crapped their pants and complained about it, and the Netherlands were booted out barely 24 hours before the grand final. And had this song been in the final, it would have challenged for the win. Certainly with the public, with the juries, I think this would have ended up 12th or 13th. We do know where Europapa by Joost Klein would have ended up in the jury vote because that's online somewhere. This song is a little bit all over the place, and it took me a while to warm up to it. It's so different from anything else that we've ever had from the Netherlands, or indeed any other country, full stop really, at the Eurovision Song Contest. For the record, Joost, what's going on here? Dear, here we go. He co-wrote this song with a bunch of other people. He is 27 from Leeuwarden. Born in November 1997, started off on YouTube, I believe, released many albums, won several awards, collaborated with a group of people as well. His genre of music is hip-hop, electronic, indie rock and gabber, which is a style of electronic dance music and a subgenre of hardcore. In other words, really sort of heavy nightclub type music that bursts your eardrums. Anyway, Europapa is very tongue-in-cheek. And the song has been described as an ode to Europe and a letter to his late father, who taught him that the world has no borders. It was met with relative praise amongst both Dutch and international media. The music video is quite funny. This really came up on the rails. It was always likely to do well, and then right before Eurovision, there was more and more attention surrounding this song. He was talking quite loudly, I would say, about the performance, and it was going to be groundbreaking, never before seen aspects on the Eurovision stage. In the end, it wasn't that mind-boggling, shall we say. He was wearing a blue-coloured suit with exaggerated shoulder pads. You had somebody off to one side dressed as a bird. I'm reading it from Wikipedia here. It says pictures of food, the slogan 12 points, a frozen Microsoft Windows screen, shots from the song's music video, and animations of Klein. Near the end of the performance, he performs the Hakken dance, which is a form of rave dance originating from the Dutch hardcore and gabber scene. A dance theatre, yes. The performance was remarked to have gone at a fast pace. Maybe the TikTok generation will like it. I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes popular all over again in a few years with the TikTok users of the day. The staging did receive some criticism for promising too much. Yes indeed. Then of course we have the whole controversy with disqualification. I'm not going to go into that now. We all know about it anyway. Christer Björkman, his name is mentioned here for some reason. Martin Österdahl, heavily criticised. He was booed. The Dutch spokesperson did not give out the points in the final, leading to Martin Österdahl having to do it himself and getting booed in the process. And it hasn't really damaged Joost Klein's career. Not at all. Will he come back and do Eurovision at some point? I don't know. It's just a really fun performance. Even if it's not the most visually appealing performance, certainly it stood out from all of the performances in 2024 in Malmö. Second semi-final, finished second. And I think this probably would have finished about 5th or 6th overall in the final had he not been disqualified. I'm going to write 2024. Higher than that. Probably not as high as that, though. For the record, Europapa is my number 6 of last year's competition. And then this year, something a little bit different. We had C'est la vie, That's Life by Cloud. This is my number 5 of 2025. This was a song that was getting a reasonable amount of love from Eurovision fans when it was first released, and then it all sort of faded away. The live performance in Basel maybe didn't live up to expectations. Again, a mid-tempo number, as was the case in 2015, a sort of mid-tempo effort, and they're difficult to stage, and there weren't really many camera shots at all in this one. Muted lighting, I would say. A couple of musicians pretending to play their instruments on stage with him, the camera panning around them all, and then flowers bursting over the LED screen right towards the end. Another very personal effort, but ultimately did fall a little bit flat on the night. There was some criticism aimed at his vocals as well, but I thought he sounded all right in the end. Cloud Kiambe, 21, from DR Congo, born in September 2003. Released one album, La Da Dar Mon Dernier Mot, reached number 1 in his homeland in 2022. He has released a whole bunch of songs in French. Platinum, Diamond, Gold. He's had a lot of success. This song reached number 2 in his homeland and also charted in several other countries as well, including Iceland and Lithuania. Really nice, but ultimately not one that I think I'm really going to gravitate towards myself a great deal over the coming years. He has described the song as a tribute to a parent, specifically his mother. From my childhood through my youth, she taught me to find the positive in life's experiences even during setbacks. Even when things seem dark, it's important to focus on the brighter side. The music video is quite nice. A younger Cloud sitting there watching Conchita Wurst win for Austria in 2014. I'm going to put 2025... maybe here for now. So there we go. My ranking of the Dutch entries at Eurovision, bottom to top. 2021, 2015, 2017. Wow, that's quite low. I really do like that song. 2018, 2016, 2015, 2020, 2019, 2024, 2023. Top of the pile, 2022. De Diepte. No real surprise there. That is just a splendid, beautiful, beautiful tune. Cloud, for the record, yes, he was fairly smartly dressed, and the camera was quite up close, and he closed his eyes at one point, and he was a little bit emotional towards the end as well, I would say. Yeah, need to watch it back. It's been a while. Anyway, I'm going to leave things there. definitely rambled on terribly, but that's nothing new on my channel. Thank you for sticking with me if you have watched all 33.5 minutes of this video. Let me know your favourite Dutch entries over the past decade, and I'll be back with another Eurovision related video fairly soon, and there will be another poll up on my community page before too long as well. There will be another 3, 4, maybe 5 videos like this one before the summer is over and done with. Until next time, take care of yourselves, stay safe, thanks for watching, and bye for now.